Hey guys, and welcome to my sort of late release of the Boxing Day special for the Christmas Universe. Yes, I am apologizing for the late release because I've had to sort out a lot of other stuff first before getting this recorded. But I'm here to share my thoughts on the Outnumbered Christmas special that aired last night. And what can I say? I mean, it's always a treat to see Outnumbered back. I mean, it's been a while since we last saw the Outnumbered the last time we saw them, which was in 2016. So it has been a good few years since the last one, and now we're in a whole new decade. So things are obviously going to feel a little different. This is obviously the Brookmans after the pandemic. So it's and what was really interesting, the first things, we might as well get into it. The first things first is that the Pete and Sue have got themselves a new house for starters. They've decided to move from the original location of where Outnumbered used to be filmed to the new home that's now which funny enough is actually next to a football stadium, because the last house they were in was nowhere near a football stadium. So this is completely different house that they're using. So the original set that they had, probably more closer to the city, more closer to the London city, more the Westminster side of London, was this one is kind of more slightly out there, slightly more out of the town area. I think it suits it better, to be honest, because you don't really hear the traffic as much. It's a lot more quieter there, which I think is really nice that they picked somewhere where it's not as noisy in the background as you would think it would, which is, I think, is a very smart decision. What they made for that approach is to even, especially considering, sure, they may have been trying to practice football there, but luckily they weren't as noisy as you would think, because I mean, footballers are not really noisy at night because they usually get some sleep. But it was really, really cool to see the drone shot of the house covered in decorations, whereas the other houses were not even decorated because, well, they were filming this in November when barely any house was putting any decorations up, which it kind of looks funny looking at the scene of like the decorations, only that house being decorated and everywhere else isn't decorated, because, well, considering the fact they filmed this last month, yeah, not many people were thinking about putting decorations up at the time. It's kind of funny to look at, even though there were some sort of twinkly lights in the background in the form of the London Eye, and in that area, there were some lights there. So luckily they did have some Christmas events. Well, luckily they had the Winter Wonderland when they were filming it. So luckily there was some form of decorations in the background, even though most of the houses around were not really thinking about decorating their houses until December. It was really clever. It was really clever that the whole plot of this episode was essentially Sue trying to get like a perfect family Christmas sort of. Yeah, because I mean, looking at all the previous Christmases, there's always been a lot of like arguments, or usually because one member of the family doesn't want to do one thing that Sue wants to do, and usually Sue has a lot of trouble trying to get everyone together in the same room, mainly because something happens. Well, this is the first time that it felt like Riley has completed her task that she's been trying to do very long time, and that is to try and get everyone in the room at the same time, which was something that she'd been wanting for years, and luckily she succeeded this time. It was also kind of touching, considering the fact there was also this storyline about Pete having, obviously cancer. You can't really muck about stuff like this, but it's quite surprising that they went with this storyline, considering considering it's a comedy. I'm surprised they went down this route, because it makes it sound like, because they're making it sound like it's serious, it makes it sound like they could be a possibility that Pete might not survive it in the coming years. And if we are going to get another special, which I feel like there's a possibility there could be more specials on the way after watching this episode. But if we were to get another special, are we going to end up seeing Pete not surviving that treatment? Is that what we're heading to? Because I'm starting to think that's where we're heading, judging by the fact that they brought this up here. It makes it sound like they're going to do like an episode about Pete's funeral, which will be quite an emotional episode, because obviously a lot of people are going to miss that character, considering Pete has had some funny moments in Outnumbered. So it is going to feel a little odd not seeing Pete there, should they decide to go down that path. I would like to believe they're going to try and make it sound like, hopefully make it find a way so that Pete survives. Hopefully, is kind of what I'm hoping is what's going to happen. Should they do their next special within the year or so? Other highlights of the episode, of course, we see Ben in the taxi with his friends, of course, because he was, he was trying to drive trying to get a taxi home for Sue's perfect Christmas, even though having trouble getting audio through his FaceTime mainly because he was probably not getting the best of signals where he was. Yeah, it was also kind of funny how Pete had to try and explain himself during the racket background because they were doing a little bit of housework. They had builders in the next door, and also that whole plot line of the next door neighbors delivering their parcels to Pete and Sue, even though Pete and Sue didn't want them, and they got really annoyed by receiving their parcels when they were refusing to accept. And then obviously Pete did the funny thing of throwing the parcels on the other side to force them to accept those parcels because Sue got really wound up about the fact that she was receiving parcel after parcel after parcel after parcel after parcel. Yeah, trust me, you do get those type of neighbors where they just randomly decide to just put the delivery to your address and then force you to keep it, which even though some are nice to collect the parcels, some are usually very more difficult to get them to collect their parcels when they should. But usually, most of the time, it's usually because of a kind gesture. This one is more of a more annoying gesture where you have that annoying neighbor who just doesn't want to accept any deliveries except for give the neighbors it. Then you've also have that whole obviously Jake's plot line where he was getting exhausted raising a child, obviously because he's got a child now, and he's finally got a girlfriend, he's finally had a kid, so he's obviously more responsibilities to him. So you can imagine it's taken a toll on him, knowing that not only he has to work and provide, but then he also has to, deal with being woken up by a 3-year-old. Trust me, it's hard work. I can imagine how much hard work it is for a young dad, especially during the year. And Jake is basically feeling the effects of that in this episode. And even though he is happy to be with Raquel, who is his girlfriend, obviously, so he is very happy to be with her. It's just a bit tiring at times because he really could do with some sleep. And then Karen, obviously, she mentions about her, mainly because of her clients at work giving her a hard time, so she's been sort of abandoning a lot of teams in her job in many different jobs that she's had over the last few months. Clearly, she's not getting along with them because of the fact that they're not working with Karen when they should be. So Karen just I've given up that job, and obviously she's now trying to find a job that she actually can enjoy and feel like that she doesn't have to take on all the roles for everyone because everyone wants to make excuses to help her at work, which is kind of what it sounds like. It's basically one of those jobs where she's putting all the responsibilities on her and she doesn't want to deal with it because it's too much. And then at the same time, she's also dealing with the fact that she's obviously sounds like she's had a falling out with one of her friends and she doesn't want to talk about it, even though convinced Jane to leave because Sue wouldn't talk to her because she was like, "Oh, it's my best friend." But Karen kind of did the family a favor by getting Jane out of the house because usually Pete can't stand. Typical same Pete not standing Jane. Mainly because Jane gets very affectionate when it came to Pete talking about having cancer and that, and then obviously Jane kind of overreacted, kind of got very emotional about the whole topic, and then gave Karen and Jane clues as to what that Pete was going to tell them with Ben, and then. And then of course we have the whole fact that Pete was also playing with Jake's child as well, who was being like a different type of animal every 5 minutes. That's a recurring thing now. And then obviously because she ends up watching something naughty, it ends up becoming a different animal. It's basically a dinosaur. And then really from there on, and also we had some funny moments where Sue falls over when she dropped the oil on the floor, and then she basically she burnt most of the food, and then she drops the plate. So yeah, she was over, stressing out about the fact that the Christmas lunch wasn't going the way that she wanted it to go. And then obviously Pete was calm, remaining calm throughout that situation. So yeah, they were able to have at least some. Well, I would imagine they had some sort of food, despite some of the food was on the floor. And then really they were doing a little bit of Secret Santa, which we find out that most of the gifts in Secret Santa were mostly because everybody thought they were buying gifts for Ben, when really it was Sue who gave the gift to Ben. So yeah, it was mainly Secret Santa for Ben, basically, is what it was, even though the others weren't really getting any gifts out of it. So that's basically what's happening there. It's basically just Secret Santa for Ben, typical, just one person Secret Santa. So if you ever want to have a one person Secret Santa, just get everybody to buy you a gift, and then one person just gives you the gift, and it's from everyone. That's how you do it. And then from there, really, I mean, it was obviously we saw Pete doing the dinosaur thing, which he did in the previous episode. He brought that back, and then Sue tried to do the dinosaur thing, and then obviously Ben gets involved for the first time, which was a lovely way to sort of end the special. Really, it was most of the special was mostly centered around Pete's, revealing to the kids that to Ben, Karen, and Jade that I got cancer, and don't worry, even though they were worrying. So you can imagine they were very, very worried by everything that was going on. So but yeah, it was really, really lovely to see them back, and especially after seeing this episode, it kind of makes me, because of them being in the home, and because Sue says that Raquel, Jake's girlfriends, now completes the family. I like to be hopeful there's more coming for Outnumbered, especially the way they handled the way the episode was presented. It makes me hopeful we could see more from Outnumbered. That's hopefully in the coming years we might see more Christmas specials, and then eventually I would imagine eventually we'll get to a time when they will consider doing a final episode like Gavin and Stacey does. I like to hope we still got a few more episodes yet before we get to that day. Hopefully we'll see what happens. Outnumbered, but I like to hope they've got a series of specials for Outnumbered, considering the actor behind Pete usually does a Christmas special with not going out for a few years, so I wouldn't see why he wouldn't do the same thing with Outnumbered, should they decide to do like a series of Christmas specials for that program in the next few years. Apart from that, really, it was just great to see the Ben, Karen, and Jake back together, and see all coming together for Christmas, and just see them all grown up. Considering how we saw them originally, they were like kids. Basically, they were like childs, and now they're adults now, which is really, it just shows how much they've grown in like few years, doesn't it? It amazes me how much they've grown over the years, and now they're fully flown adults, and it means that now we're gonna see them be more adults going forward. In future Outnumbered specials, which means they'll be probably joining in a lot more in the adult side of Christmas, which is going to be very interesting to see in future specials. But I would love to hear from everybody else. What do you make of the Outnumbered Christmas special? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you believe there's more Outnumbered specials to be made? Would you like to see them do more special, like a series of specials in the next few years, so that they could fill the void that Gavin and Stacey left? Or do you feel like we need more new comedies during Christmas rather than just bringing back Outnumbered, etc.? I would love to hear in the conversation below, but again, I'm just happy that we got to see Outnumbered back. I was very surprised considering considering I thought that there was a part of me that felt we would never see Outnumbered again, and then all of a sudden they announced their return, and it made me very excited. Especially, it was very suspicious how they were repeating Outnumbered during the year, and I kind of speculated, could this mean a return? And then lo and behold, they end up announcing they were returning for Christmas, and it really surprised me that they had something in the pipeline for Christmas 2024, and it's turned out great, and hopefully more to come for Outnumbered in the coming years. Hopefully we'll see if there's more to come. But nevertheless, let me know in the comment section what you make, and hopefully they're going to have pre-orders out for the Outnumbered Christmas special DVD, hopefully, unless they decide to update the complete collection, which they might do. in the new year. But hopefully they're going to release the Christmas special on DVD and Blu-ray. Fingers crossed they are planning one in January or February or whenever they're planning to release it. Nevertheless, you can stream it on BBC iPlayer should you want to watch all the episodes of Outnumbered. Check out every episode they've done, even all the previous Christmas specials they've had, and then I will catch you all in our final Christmas universe, which will be on New Year's. It's going to be on New Year's Eve, where we're going to be reviewing the making of Do They Know It's Christmas, the documentary celebrating Dane's 40th anniversary, and it's going to be really sad knowing that it's going to be our last Christmas universe of Christmas 2024 this year and into the next. I hope you have. I hope everybody did have an amazing Boxing Day, and I hope hopefully the rest of your Christmas holidays are going well. Yeah, enjoy the content that is to come for the rest of the final days of the year into New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and we'll see you all for that New Year special this New Year's Eve. Enjoy.